All right, looks like we are recording now. And guys, I am so super excited to have on the program Mel and Steve. This has been a long time coming. Mel and Steve, I've started doing live reactions now to people's content. And I have this kind of running joke that it's not a finished stream until we've reacted to some Mel and Steve. And the reason for that is because you guys are so prolific. You guys are just cranking it out. You have just such a energy and a passion that is really infectious. And so first of all, thank you and welcome to the program and for your
Oh,
passion for
Oh,
the animals.
oh,
oh,
thank
thank
you.
you.
That's really kind of you to say. That's really kind words. We really appreciate
Yeah,
that.
it means a lot. And thank you for having us on as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I mean, it's an honor. And like I said, I mean, I really appreciate people who are just out there doing the work. And it's very obvious to see just from the sheer amount of videos that you guys are cranking out, whether they're investigations, you guys doing your live streams at Slaughterhouses, your street outreach. It's really impressive. Where is that energy coming from? Are you guys able to sort of like as a couple, are you guys able to sort of like motivate each other? Like if someone feels like they're dragging one day, the other person's like, hey, get up, we gotta go, we gotta go.
You know what? We've actually never had to do that with each other. We both just have this massive feeling inside our body that it's never like oh, come on, like, don't be lazy. It's like, no, let's go for it. We're just thinking of like new ideas and new things that we can do all the time. Just by watching what happens to the animals gives you so much passion in your body. Like, we don't stop thinking about the animals 24 hours a day, and that's not an exaggeration. That's just pure truth. Every moment of our day, I know I can speak for both of us, we're thinking about the animals and what we can do for them. So it's actually like, when we do activism, it's like, yeah, let's go do this. That kind of feeling. It's not like a drag to have to do. There's definitely certain situations that are harder than others, and like myself, I get more nervous than Steve does, so I have to just kind of like psych myself up a bit more, like as we're driving somewhere. But the passion is just always like there all the time. I can't explain it.
I think as well, the more you do, and the closer you get to the victims, the shorter you understand their time frame is. Therefore, the more you have to do, it just naturally progresses that way. And sort of progressing our activism from street outreach to now like going a bit further and going investigating farms and going into these places and doing lives at slaughterhouses, you realize that like they never get a moment's rest, so we should never take one is our theory. And like most of this, it's not a conscious decision. I think when you find your meaning in life, it's just a natural flow, it's just a natural thing. And in fact, we still are like, what more can we? I would never say that I'm doing enough. I would always be like, no, there's always going to be another degree of pressure, another degree of intensity that we can put on, and we will always strive to do that. There will never be a moment where we think, yep, this is our level of activism and we're comfortable here. That's never going to be the case. We will always be, what's next? What more can we do? How can we make this more effective? How can this help the animals faster and quicker on their time frame?
Yeah, and I just want to add to that as well. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it's not like we're like, oh, this is so exciting to go and do. I hate going to slaughterhouses. I hate talking to people like about it. I hate that we have to do it. But what gives you the energy and the passion is not only do the animals need us to do it, but the outcome. Once you've done it and you've seen the change, you've seen people have seen it and they have made the connection. That's what you want, is the outcome of the event. It's not like we go to slaughterhouses like, oh yeah, let's go. We hate going there, but the animals need us too. So
yeah, if anything, we never get the like one person's like tired. We get like the one person's upset. I'll break or Mel will break. And thankfully, up to this point, one of us will be upset. We haven't really had the moment where we're both down. So in that respect, we do lean on each other. Like, we'll come back from a slaughterhouse or a farm, and I'll have had a certain interaction, and I'll be like, I can't get this out of my head, and I'm really upset. And Mel's like, right, it's okay because we're going to do this, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So we lean on each other for that more than energy, really, I think.
Yeah,
So if there is a moment where you both get down, I guess it'll just sort of be the same. Even though you're both feeling down, you'll still just lean on each other and get through it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the animal, I mean, getting close to the animals is obviously a natural driving force because you see it. It's right there. It's the emergency is right in front of you. It's so interesting. So I looked back through your channel to the one where you said you were changing the name, and I actually didn't know from your story that it was like watching Joey Carbstrong that turned you guys vegan. And I guess he was, having a debate. And now here you guys are doing that same type of content, which is really cool. So he inspired you to make this content. Now you're doing it. Is it different now that you're doing it? Like one of the questions that I have is, when you kind of turn vegan, you sort of had this idea, like, if I just tell people about this, like everybody's going to get it. And then you have to go through some of that frustration. Now I will say, I have seen some videos where you guys have like turned some vegans right on the spot. Like very recently, I think there was one where, you ended up like having a hug and everything because it was so great. But have you gone through those stages of like, oh, like, why aren't people getting it?
Yeah, 100%. So, like you said, we went vegan after watching Joey Carbstrong in a debate on YouTube, and both our reaction to seeing Slaughterhouse footage was that we both broke, we both cried, we both couldn't contain our emotion. We just could not believe this was happening, and we had no idea this was happening. So, because we both saw us react like that, and I could never imagine anybody not reacting like that. Of course, I went straight to everybody and was like, just watch this, watch this, watch this. And I remember feeling massively confused that they didn't respond how I did. I thought our reaction was the normal reaction to seeing something like that. And I couldn't comprehend anybody else feeling any other way, let alone trying to justify what they are watching happening to the animals. I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely gobsmacked when I first discovered that. That definitely took some learning because I just couldn't understand it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, 100% the same. You think that it's going to be as easy as rock up into a city centre, put the Stands for Change TVs up, and just press play and just watch people change into being vegan like on the spot. You just think it's going to be like, great, every set of eyes that sees this screen today, we're going to see a new vegan, and then they're going to join the fight, and we're going to get animal rights really, really quick. And then when the reality of that isn't the case, and you do get them moments, don't get me wrong, like the other day, this guy walked past, saw it, burst into tears, went vegan. But when you realize that that's not the norm, you start to have these things in your head. You just think, wow, like I'm so disassociated with my species. Like, I'm not like everybody else. Like,
right.
Even as a non-vegan, when someone had challenged me with this topic, my response wouldn't have been plants feel pain, or my response wouldn't have been my bacon though. My response would have been like, whoa, tell me more. Oh my God, I didn't know this. Show me more. And you go through these phases from becoming vegan, becoming active, and then developing your activism. And you go through the broken stage, like Mel said, when like everything's upside down, everything settles. Then you realize that not everyone changes the same as what you did. And then you get angry, and then you get emotional, and then it's kind of like throwing a rock in a bucket, and you get this this wave of water, and everything's kind of like messy. And then all of a sudden you sort of hit this equilibrium where you're like, right, okay, I'm now focused and I can develop my activism, and I know that this is more effective and that's more effective. And we still do that constantly now. And even as activists, you have to remember that when you're advocating for the animals, you're advocating on behalf of them. So a lot of the time on the streets, you want to just jump up and down and scream and shout at people, but you think, I'm representing the animals right now. What's the best way for me to act for them? Because it's not me in the slaughterhouse, so I have to represent them. And this whole thing is such a metamorphosis from day one of going vegan. And you just think this is going to be the easiest change we're going to get in people. and people who you know who are kind, compassionate people, and you go to them with this message and you say, did you realize this happens to animals for something as trivial as a bacon sandwich? And they're going, yeah, well, you know. And you think, I don't know you now. Like, I now don't know you. Like, I was aligned with you on all these topics, and I thought you were a good person, but now I can't think that, because when you can shrug your shoulders at what animals have to face, and you genuinely know, like, you have made the connection, you have been given the information, you've seen the footage, and you've not implemented change, you just think, I now don't know you.
Yeah, I've had that experience so many times where I thought I like you said, I knew somebody, and then it's like, what kind of person actually are you? Because you know, you can. I really like this quote, and I think it's even about sort of like, you know, whether you tip at restaurants and stuff, but it's like you can really judge the character of somebody by what they can get away with. So like, you can go to a restaurant and not tip, right? You can get away with that, but that's a dick thing to do. I don't know if they tip in the UK, by the way. In America, they tip. So, so it's like a thing that you're supposed to do at a restaurant. But yeah, like, obviously you can eat animals and get away with that, but you're causing harm. So let's go back to Joey's video. Like, did that come across your feed or something? Like, how did you come across that video, or were you seeking out content like that? I'm curious.
No, so we hadn't seen anything, and it was on our feed on YouTube, and I remember reading, so it was something like debating the public about the dairy industry, and I was like, we were both like, what's there to debate about the dairy industry? Like, cows just produce milk, don't they? And there's no harm. Like, what's that about? And it intrigued us enough to push it. So we both sat down on the sofa, and just started watching it. And like we say a lot, like, Joey was making complete sense. Like, we were like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course cows need to be pregnant, and they're a mother, that's why they're producing milk. And we were learning all these new things that we just didn't know. And then it was the footage of a dairy mother inside of a slaughterhouse that we saw. It was only about 5 seconds long, but that was enough to tear our entire lives apart and change everything for us that in that moment.
Yeah, we just put it was the black and white dairy cow on Dominion, when she's having her throat cut over and over and over again, and then that off of the back of all the logic Joey had just put, you know, it was like a one-way valve has switched. And to be honest with you, we put our head in our hands and we just cried. I think I cried for about 20 minutes, half an hour. It was
Wow.
like, you know when you cry, but from like your soul, like from your stomach, all of a sudden it's like, I can now feel how responsible I have been responsible for her being in this position, and you feel all the weight of your decisions as a non-vegan hit you in this big wave of emotion. We just cried, and the video ended, and I think we stopped the TV, like it stopped, and we just looked at each other. We didn't even talk.
We didn't even say like we're vegan.
We just stood up. Then we walked into the kitchen. We got a black bag, and we just put everything that was from an animal in a black bag, and we threw it in the bin. And we just been shopping the day before. We don't have a big shopping budget. We threw all of our food away, and we were like, right, what's the cheapest vegan food? We saw beans on toast was vegan.
We just started with that, and we were like, we'll find a way.
Let's go and get beans on toast. And then we just basically just sat in this like bewildered state for ages, just like, my gosh, I did not know that. I did not know this. Like, that's it. Like, no more. Like, no more.
Yeah, and like when you say ages, like it was nightmares after nightmares after night. I couldn't get her out of my head. And yeah, it was just that constant feeling of you feeling really angry. Like, how dare people lie to us about this? How dare they make people who love animals pay for the most horrific thing happening to animals? And then you feel like utter sadness for what she's had to endure. You feel so many emotions when you first going vegan, and then like waking up at night just can't stop thinking about her, thinking they need help. And yeah, that's then when we decided, we were like, right, we need to go out and help the animals.
Yeah,
I
very
have
short space of time.
That's yeah, I have so many thoughts about that. Just like one that just kind of shows the power of the content, right? Like in you know, Joey's of course a big activist, but even people who have like really small channels that are making that sort of content, like you may not get that feedback. But you may be impacting people in the way that you two were impacted by that video. So it is like an encouragement for people to just keep going, keep trying, even if maybe they're not getting all the, you know, they're not seeing everybody go vegan or the person they're talking to. Cause I don't remember this specific video. Like, but well, actually, did the person in that video connect with Joey's message, or was he someone that kind of brushed it off?
To be honest, I can't remember.
I don't remember the end of that video.
No.
I remember up until that the dairy cow, and then
It's
like
boom, shut.
the video just faded off and ended whilst we were just in a world of tears and upset and
Yeah, you didn't
sadness.
need anymore.
No, I couldn't tell you how that video ended. I'll have to go back and see if I can find it again.
Yeah,
Wow.
one thing that we remember is that we didn't even really know we were taking it at the time, but all we saw was the dairy industry footage. We didn't need to know about the other industries. It kind of just all made sense, and I think that's just because of how Joey advocates so well. He was like, veganism is the baseline here, and that obviously went in without us even knowing. So yeah, we didn't have to see all the other industries to be like, okay, now we will stop having cow's milk, and now we see what pigs go through. Like, it was just vegan.
Right. So probably I'm gonna guess that y'all were probably at that point like ignorant about like male chick maceration in the egg industry and things like that. So those are things you learn later, and then it's just like, geez, like what, like all this stuff that we're doing to animals.
Yeah, I remember learning that on Outreach.
Yeah. So you guys, I believe you know, you were a big supporter of the Pignorant documentary that Joey made. So I believe you guys were outside of Slaughterhouses together. So I'm guessing you've had a chance to share with Joey this story with him, right?
Yeah, so it was at Camp Out. We hadn't met Joey up until this point.
So 2 years later, wasn't it?
It was 2 years afterwards. So yeah, 2 years worth of activism and 2 years worth of all what we were doing. And then going back to the social media point, that's why we started to do our social media, because we were out weekends and every day we had, and it was too labor intensive. And we were like, look, if we film our content, get it on social media, we got bigger reach, so it's more effective for the animals. So we had 2 years of all this stuff, and we went to Camp Out, and Joey was talking, and we were like, right, like we have to stand in the queue and just say thank you, like, because that video changed our lives. It actually like allowed us to be us, and like it allowed us to be the real like Mel and Steve, like not this sort of like conditioned version of us pre-vegan. So we're like, yeah, let's just stand in this queue and just say thanks. And we stood and we waited and we got our turn, and it was a really surreal moment, you know, like meeting this guy who you admire so much. You know, they always say, like, be careful, don't meet your heroes and don't meet the people who you really look up to, because they may not measure up. And it was just the most surreal moment, like meeting Joey, saying thank you, having a chat with him. And like we watched, it's actually recorded because he was recording all of his interactions, and you realize looking back, we just was like, just like it just was like I can't remember.
We were just so excited. Like Steve said, like people say when you meet your heroes, you feel like sometimes let down. But with Joey and Tarian, like we just were like even more so like, wow, like it just there's such incredible people. And
we even waited. We met him once. And then we're like, thank you, Joey, thank you so much. And then we left. And then we just sort of like felt compelled to wait. And we basically rejoined right at the back of the queue. And he got back and we were like, we're back
put
again.
On a fake mustache so that you didn't know.
We're like, hello again. Because it was just such a massive thing in our lives. Like,
right.
Just, like it's really hard to find the words to say to the person who has liberated us in our life to then be able to liberate the animals with our life. Right. And you just couldn't put it into words. So like we ended up back again, and then we talked for ages. And you know, credit to Joey, there was hundreds of people, and you know, he gave the first person energy and he gave the last person energy, and he stayed and spoke to everybody. and it was just amazing to meet him. And it was off of the back of that interaction, we kind of left, and we were like just in awe. Like, we're like, yes, that was amazing. We got to thank the person who put us on the right path in our life. And it was a few weeks after, wasn't it? Joey messaged us on Instagram and was like, I've got an idea. I remember talking to you guys at Camp Out, and you stuck in my mind. It was a memorable conversation of the day, and I've got an idea. Can we have a Zoom call? So we were like, what?
Well, no, we were like,
you're like, nah, we're kind of busy today. So
like, oh, washing my hair. Like, no, I remember Mel being like, oh my God, Joey's just messaged us.
Not
and
just me.
was like running in like, what? And we had this Zoom meeting.
We're very honored.
And Joey was like, yeah, I'm doing a Pink-Hines tour, and I'd like you guys to come along and just help promote my new documentary, which was just incredible. Like, what an honor,
yeah,
to be asked to go and help with that. And so we did. And then, like, for anyone listening, if you think Joey and Tarian work hard, whatever you think they do, times that by 100, times it by 1,000. These two guys and their team are so commendable for what they do for animals. We went on this Pink-Hines tour. They're the first people up. They're the last people in bed. Their mind is on the mission 24 hours a day. Whilst
also being so kind and supportive as well. They're the nicest people. Like, they deserve so much support for what they do. It
was an honor to do that Pink-Hines tour with them. And that's how that came around.
Yeah, I definitely felt the pressure, though. I remember we were standing, I can't remember if it was a Slaughterhouse or Pilgrim's Pride, but Joey passed me the megaphone, and I was like, oh, me, like, on the megaphone. Like, I was like, but I have to do it. I was like, I can do it for the animals. And I was like, shame on you, and did it. But I remember thinking, like, I hope I'm going to be good enough for this, and I hope we're going to push this the way it needs to be pushed. And yeah, I mean, all we've got to go on is our passion, and that just leads you and pushes you in those moments of terror. Like,
similar to me, like when a megaphone was handed to me, it was kind of similar. Someone just put it in my face basically and was like, here, go. And I was like, oh God. And I'm not like
to run away.
Yeah. But then it flows out, doesn't it? Because like you really like you have this passion already. So well, that's really cool. Like that experience. Yeah, I can relate because like I got to know Wayne, who, you know, is similar. Like I had Chris Hines on the program. He described Joey as this, you know, incredibly hardworking guy. I would put Wayne in that category too. And similarly, I had gotten to know Wayne when he went on trial near where I live for rescuing goats. And then sort of got to know him during the trial a little bit. But it was like a month later or weeks later, I don't know, I got like a text from Wayne, and it was actually a butt dial. Like he didn't mean to text me, but the reason why he texted me was because he was like looking into me to see if he, like, I wanted to come and do some work and stuff. So yeah, I felt that like similar thing. And it's really beautiful that you guys got to share with Joey, you know, and thank Joey for the impact that he had on you, because like my situation was this woman at a bar encouraged me to watch Earthlings. This is someone I'll probably never meet again. I don't even think I'd recognize her if I saw her again. So I'll probably never have that opportunity. And I would love to just go and give her like a great big hug and like thank her, because she turned someone from a non-vegan into an animal activist, like basically on the spot, which is incredible. And like she'll never know that, I don't think, unless she like stumbles across something. So yeah, it just goes to show, like, I kind of go back to that point again, where sometimes we don't know the impact that we're having. So for all you know, like, you're creating a bunch of Mel and Steves with each one of your videos. But as you guys have alluded to, it is sort of a rare reaction. The way that you guys reacted to the video should be the normal way to react, but it is kind of rare. And I'm curious, and that leads to this question, because when I met that woman in the bar, I was going through a lot of change. Like, I had lost my job, my girlfriend. I was like kind of in like a low state. And I remember this video where you guys were talking to the one guy, and he seemed like awfully sensitive in that moment. I wonder if he was going through a lot of change. What was happening with y'all at the time? Was there anything in y'all's life that was like kind of made you guys a little more like feeling or like sensitive to things at that time, or nah? Because I'm curious. I'm just trying to. I'm curious what the psychology of change is.
So when I look back, there wasn't anything significant happening in our lives, but as people, like I've personally always loved animals were like my thing. I was the animal girl. Like Steve Irwin was like the coolest guy ever when I was younger, because I was like, oh, he's like doing all this, and oh wow, and my dog was my best friend. So I know I've always been very sensitive towards animals, and I've never viewed them as anything less than myself. If anything, I viewed them as these amazing beings who are just better than any person I've ever met. I know you're the same as well.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything significant happening in our lives. But one thing that's always intrigued me with the psychology side of it, and this is why I think social media is such an important element to use our activism on, is we were sitting in our home, in our safe environment, on our sofa. So we were able to have this super honest emotional reaction to it. So I've got a theory potentially that maybe when these people that we're meeting in the streets are met with the same message that we were met in our home, they're in a social environment where they have to perhaps keep a persona up. You know, maybe you see a guy coming down the street and he sees pigs in a gas chamber. Maybe inside he's really crying and really upset, but in his environment, he can't allow people to see that because of the social norms and what people expect to see. So this is why I think social media activism is really poignant, is because a lot of the time you're catching people in their safe space, in their bed when they're flicking through in the morning, on their TV, on their sofa, and you're catching people in this environment where they can have an honest and open reaction. And I think that it provokes a lot of change because people are in a vulnerable state. I could put my head in my hands and cry for half an hour because the reality hit me. If I'd have bumped into Joey at, I don't know, Leicester Square, would I have had the same internal reaction, but outside maybe try and hold myself together a bit more, not allow myself to have broke? There's a load of psychology to that there, but I just feel like this is why social media is so powerful with what we're trying to do, because you can get the message in front of people, you know, right where they are. They haven't got to go to you, or you haven't got to go to them.
Yeah, I have no data to back it up other than like my own experience, but I think you're right because yeah, I mean, like the woman telling me, she encouraged me to go home and watch Earthlings. So I was alone in my room, you know, on my bed watching Earthlings on my computer, and I was able to have that kind of reaction. And I do think it's probably especially for men, but even for women, but men have, you know, they have to be, you know, masculine, not show their emotions in the street or something. So I think in cube settings and things like that, like definitely there could be sort of a wall of defensiveness up that maybe is getting crumbled down even while you don't realize, like you said, maybe they are feeling it inside. But I think maybe when they're putting up the wall also, they might be putting up the wall to their emotion as well. So I agree. I think the social media stuff is the game changer. Yeah. You know, and you guys have been doing a lot of this stuff over the years. I usually kind of save this question for the end and stuff, but like, what are some of the videos that you guys feel the most proud of, like that you've made over, like, I guess about 4 years of doing this now?
Well, that's a really good question.
You know what? This may sound like a cop-out, but I'm proud of every single video. Every single video we've ever recorded has taken hard work. It's taken a lot of learning for editing. It's taken vulnerability. When we first did recording for social media, we're not recording for ourselves. Like, I freak out in front of the camera. I froze the first time I was in front of the camera. And you come across all these barriers that you got to get over. And yeah, I feel really proud of everything that we have done and will continue to do, but I will never feel settled in what we're doing. Always striving for more. But I think, like, from our first videos, you learn actually how you advocate through watching yourself back. So we used to say words like "it." We would say they're an "it" because we were kind of conditioned to say that, and now like the word "it" to an animal like sticks out like a sore thumb, and it's things like that. So there's definitely videos where obviously like where the guy people go vegan on the spot is like amazing, but actually it's all the other videos as well. They have their place too, because they're making change on social media, and that person's perhaps changing on social media because of that video. And this spicier video you can put footage on because non-vegans want to see that. So yeah, I'm proud of every step.
I would answer that. I've got two. The first one is kind of a bit of a cheat because it's a playlist on our channel, and it's the Pignorant playlist. It's the Pignorant Tour playlist. I'm super proud of that because it was with Joey and Tarian, and it was, you know, it was like you said, it was like the coming together of the influence that made us vegan, and then all of a sudden you're standing side by side fighting for animals in all these different scenarios. So I'm really proud that we have that on our channel, and I feel very lucky that's on our channel. I'm privileged to have that on our channel. And the second one that I'm mega proud of was when we took Colin into the farm, the non-vegan, into the pig farm with the farrowing crates, because that was one of our first biggest investigations that we've done, and it signifies to me a step up in our activism from street outreach, and it was the beginning of the investigations, and it took a lot to do that. We were scared to do it. I was anxious to do it. You know, it was so far out of our comfort zone, because I've got a lot of other things as well. Obviously, I'm worried about Mel in that situation because I'm trying to protect her, but there was a lot in there. And that was our first significant video of investigation. So I'm super proud that was on there, as well as the Pignorant playlist. That would be my answer to that.
Yeah. Well, I've had Chris and Colin on the program, so now I get to talk to you guys about the same thing. I should get Calvin too, like get the whole team and just like completely dissect that thing. But yeah, so tell me a little more about that, because Chris did describe that was one of y'all's first as well, and so he, you know, he put together this, like he said, y'all want to come out here, I guess. But you can see what's happening internally on the screen. I remember specifically because making a clip with for Colin's video, there's this shot of Mel looking down at what she's seeing like that, and you were having this real, like, kind of just shocked reaction. But take me a little bit through that, you know, without identifying, you know, through specifics like what location that was. But yeah, because I mean that must have been a very intense experience as Colin described it, and he was a non-vegan like you mentioned, so that's just like it's an incredible thing that not very many people get to experience. You guys helped to make that possible for Colin, but it was also big for you too.
Yeah, so I remember we actually were sat having a meal with Chris, and we were both chatting, and we were like, look, we really want to like go into farms, and we were like, wouldn't it be great to take a non-vegan into a farm? Like that would pull people to watch the video. And then Chris was like, oh, my brother said he would. And I was like, let's plan it. Like, listen, I'm constantly pestering Chris all the time. I'm like,
I like how quick that happened. Like it wasn't like you didn't need all this, like, I mean, I know there was planning that went involved, but in terms of like the initial thought, it was quick like that.
yeah, and it was just like, right, let's get a date and let's do this. And yeah, so we met Colin the day we went into the farm, and we spoke to him for a little bit. And I remember you asking him, what's stopping you from going vegan then? Like what is it? Because Chris has been talking to you like for 10 years about this. What did he say to you? Was it convenience?
Basically, yeah. So like Mel said, you kind of said that really quickly there.
Sorry.
We'd had this meal with Chris, and we'd put this idea together, and Chris was like, look, I've been banging on at my brother to do this for ages, and I think he'll do it. Let me ask Colin, and let me see if he'll do it. So he asked Colin, put the idea to him, came back to us and said it's a go. Like, Colin's up for going. So we're like, cool. So we got a date in the diary. We knew where we were going, to get over and get there. And then we got there, we got set up, and we actually did a different farm the night before. So we did one farm the night before. So we were coming off of the back of doing that farm. And then the next day we were kind of all a bit tired, and we're like, right, we're not leaving till 2 a.m. So let's go meet Colin for the first time, get to know him. So it's sort of like we got an understanding. So we all went and grabbed some food, and we're chatting away. And it was like, you know, when you meet a non-vegan for the first time in a social setting, and it's like, how long is it going to take until the awkward question drops of like, so what's up then? Why aren't you vegan? And we were sitting there, and I just said to him, like, Colin, like, you know, have you watched Dominion, Colin? Yeah, I've seen Dominion. Have you seen Earth? Yeah, I've seen Earthlings. Have you seen Land of Hope? Yeah, I've seen all of these documentaries. And I looked at him, I was like, you're still not vegan? Like, what's going on? I was like, you've got Chris here who's been talking to you for 10 years. Why aren't you vegan? And you could see clearly, like, when we went to his house, his love for his animals.
Yeah.
Like, he rescues guinea pigs, he has his dogs, and his love for animals was so super clear. And I was like, you don't make sense to me. Like, why aren't you vegan? And he literally was like, you know what? It's just a convenience thing for me. Like, it's just easier for me to not be vegan. And I was like, And then with that, like, something happened. They went outside, and it kind of like the conversation got killed there. Plus, I was thinking in my head, like, I've only just met Colin. The next thing I can do is I can put the pressure on so much that he's going to be like, oh, you know what? I'm not coming tonight. Let's leave it. And stuff. So I thought, all right, well, let's see how the investigation pans out. So we sort of had that conversation. He said it was purely convenience why I'm not. And that was a really poignant part as well, because when I said to him and he said convenience, we're like, cool. Then we all met back up, and we got to like our base location. We got all the bits we needed, you know, so we made sure that the camera batteries were ready, we were charged. We had all of the disinfectant, like the farm grade disinfectant for going in and out. So everything was done properly. Because Chris had done this a few times, Chris was running through like, this is the protocol we're going to get here. We put the biosuits on, we clean the boots, we make sure everything's done properly. We film ourselves doing this so that nothing can come back on us. We're like, cool. And then, then we all jumped in the car.
Well, we started off with the first part of the interview.
I thought that's right. We interviewed Colin to begin with.
What I liked about Colin, because we didn't know him, we didn't know if he was a triggered non-vegan or anything like that. And I really liked that he was like, guys, ask me anything. I'll be completely open. And he was very honest. Like he wasn't triggered whatsoever. He was taking everything in. He understood everything and was like, yeah, he took things very seriously. I was like, okay, awesome. And we were like pretty tired still from the night before. And we were like, right, we're just gonna chat to you about what's gonna like happen, like how you're feeling now, and then we can chat about what you're feeling afterwards. So we did the short little interview to start with. And like
we asked why are you doing this? Like, why have you agreed to do this? Like, we put it to you, you said like, yeah, cool, like, let's do it. Why? And he literally said, I owe it to my brother. Like, I feel like I owe it to Chris. You know, I've watched everything, I've done everything, and he's been asking me to go, and I feel like I owe it to him to do it. So we're like, okay, cool, right, let's go and do it. And that's when the interview cut. Like, when we're like, let's do it then, and it cuts. Then we sort of got everything ready, and we got in the cars and we went.
Yeah.
And you've met Colin, and Colin is a bubbly character. And he's like quite a charismatic guy, and he's bubbly. And as the closer we were getting and the more real this was becoming, like the chit chat kind of calmed down and the seriousness hit, and and then all the protocols started coming in, like, right, these are the codes, and if you hear this, do this, and if this happens, and all the contingencies are put in place. And we'd gone over all of the drone footage, so we had a clear idea of what we were going to do. And we got there and we did the mission, and it was one of the most horrifying, horrific things I've probably ever done in my life. It was Dominion in real life. Excuse me. I can't even put into words what your senses do and what you feel. I'm sure we'll talk about that more in a minute. And when we came back out, and we got to a safe location, I said to Colin then, I said, Colin, you sat in front of me 7 hours ago and you said that you wasn't vegan because it was not convenient for you to be vegan. Is that a justification now? And he just looked and he was like, no, it's not. And
Wow.
it was a really poignant moment. And I'm really pleased that I'd asked that question in that awkward spot, because it kind of like, it gave me you told me you're not vegan because of X. Now you've seen this. Does X add up? No. It gave me the point to go back to, which I'm really pleased I asked that question in the restaurant. And Colin was just open and honest, and he just looked me straight in the face and was like, nah, that's not good enough now.
Yeah, I'm so perplexed by Colin too, pre-vegan, just because of all the things that we've said. Also just because he's also this, like you said, very kind, he's a very kind guy, very open, very honest. He was a tough nut to crack, wasn't he? It's just amazing. Like, if you've seen like Dominion and Earthlings, I've always been baffled that someone could see that and not be vegan. And I'm not saying this to put Colin on the spot. He's obviously a great dude. And I'm really, but this is why that video was so powerful. It was like, you took us inside not only a pig farm, but also just you showed us this process of someone just for some reason really not connecting in just the right way. And I know Colin said this, and he said, basically it's like films like Dominion and Earthlings, you can sort of push it away as like it's not real, it's a video, it's whatever, until you're there you can see it and smell it. And I think he described, and it wasn't the same for y'all, like when you entered the facility, like the first thing he experienced was just like a blast of smell. And I'm sure probably you could even smell it from outside too. But what was it? What was it? Like you said, this was sort of an assault on the senses. Like, tell me more about that.
It was like shocking. So I remember as we were walking through, there were these screams that I have never heard in my life. So harrowing. It was as if we had just entered hell, and they were the screams of hell. I'm not exaggerating when like I had to put my hands over my ears because it hurt so bad. It was like there was this just barn which we couldn't see into. It was boarded up, and if you told me they were burning the pigs alive inside of there, I would have believed you with the screams that I was hearing. It was deafening. And that was like, oh my gosh, like your heart is just like, you have no words. There's no words to explain it. And then as you open the door into the barn, it's nothing short of a concentration camp. It looks like someone has made this horror scene for a purposeful horror scene. Like it looks like you've never seen cobwebs like that before. You've never seen cobwebs like this big, like everywhere. You are shocked the barn's still even up because it's like flaking everywhere. There's rats running around eating babies.
Tails all on the floor.
Yeah, tails on the floor, like
antibiotic bottles everywhere.
And the feeling from the pigs is just utter heartbreaking. They're looking at you, but I know, like, I don't know if people believe in like an aura, but they have an aura of just complete victims. I can't explain it.
You see in their eyes, you see that when they look at you, they look so sad. If you took a picture of their eyes and then took a picture of a pig in a sanctuary's eyes and just showed me the eye, I could tell you which pig was in the sanctuary and which one was in the farm. The way that they looked, the helplessness that they had around them. And like Mel said, you have this overload of like your senses, like this is horrific. Like this is like if you could write down on a piece of paper what are the worst conditions you could keep the most evil person in the world in, this still was worse. And then all of a sudden it keeps slapping you in the face that this is their reality. Like they've been like this for weeks, they'll be like this for months. Like this is their life, there is no way out for them. And like just the whole aura of the place is just evil. It's just a industrial machine of evil, and you think it's just so unfair that any sentient being, anyone with the ability to feel, suffer, have any pain, receive anything, it's the most torturous environment to keep them ever. It was just horrible.
I remember the whole time just thinking it's a maternity ward from hell. Like I've seen my mum get when in a maternity ward when she's gave birth to my sister, and she has everyone around her. She has all the snacks by her, like a nice bed. And I just think for some people that's so special, but for the pigs, this is absolute hell. And when I'm looking at the mothers and their babies, I'm like, they're her babies. Who do we think we are to do this to them? That's her body, her babies, her tail, their tails, their teeth, like their bodies. Like, what are we doing as a species to them? And they can't even move. And there's certain moments that happen when you're in there, a kind of slow-mo, like I know you said when you were talking to the pig, but I remember reading on one of the mother's ear tags 2024, and I remember just thinking, here in 2024, why don't we know better? Why aren't we doing better? And that just was a real like it fills you with so much rage. You think, not having this anymore, not having this. We're going to show the world, and we're going to be fierce, and we're going to be brave, and we're going to do everything we can for them. Because there are so many good people out there paying for it. So we're going to expose the hell out of these places. And it drives you to just want to do more and more and more.
Yeah. And even like, I can feel that we're both struggling to find the words to describe that place. And the words that we're saying are not doing it justice. They're just not. It's just a fraction of what they actually have to endure. And it's just so sad. It's just so not fair. It's really cruel. It's just a cruel, dark, evil world for them. And it's just not fair. And you look at their little eyes and you look at their helpless little bodies and you think, I'm so ashamed of my species. I'm so ashamed to be part of the same species that do this to you. It's an overload of emotion. Your emotion and your senses going like crazy.
One other thing that changed me in that moment was before that point, I know a lot of people were like, oh, we've got to like respect the farmers and they are conditioned to do this. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. After I saw that place, I don't have any sort of feel sorriness or whatever for the farmers. Someone walks around that place, seeing what we saw that traumatized us, and they just carry the dead piglets, put them in the bin, they just tick things on the side. Farmers know what they're doing. Whether you're conditioned or not, you know that's wrong. So I think it's really important to put pressure on the farmers and not be so like, oh, I know that you did this, but it's like, no, you need to be held accountable for what you're doing.
And for the context of the video, for the people watching this, the farm wasn't identified as a bad case. It wasn't like we chose this farm because we knew this farm would be bad. It was like, okay, what logistically works the best for our locations? What logistically works best for perhaps something that's safer to take someone like Colin in, with filming, with our expertise levels not being particularly high at that point. And, you know, it was like, yeah, this one kind of looks like it works. Let's go and check it out. It was spin the map and put your finger on. Let's see how that one looks.
And from the outside, if you drove past, you would go, oh, it's just a local farm.
Yeah, you'd never. It
would look like a local farm.
Yeah,
that's a really good point. Actually, you say like, you know, you guys were sort of like low expertise at that point, and obviously Colin was brand new to even, you know, really thinking very deeply about the topic. So, I mean, that just goes to show, like, you know, I think it was someone I interviewed said it, you know, you can drive 30 miles this way, that way. You're going to find a place just like this where you're going to find babies in bins, basically. And you're right. Like, so Chris is, you know, a pretty experienced guy. I mean, I know that the saying is like, you can pretty much get into a lot of these factory farms. You can go to these places, you can check them out, that sort of thing. But there are like varying levels of security at these places, I'm sure. And so, yeah, if this was like a really bad, particularly bad one, you would think that the security might be even a little bit better. So that just goes to show, I would think that, you know, although it could show that this one just had like, you know, an amazing amount of neglect, that they didn't even care, which I think is probably the more pervasive attitude that you may be describing. It's just not caring.
The farm, let's just say that the farm was big enough, it was significant enough to they should be caring. It was a big enough farm. There was something, I think there was over 3,000 sows there in this farm. It was a big farm. It wasn't a small farm. So yeah, like, yeah, there are we're finding out now, the more we do, there are varying levels of security, and you don't know what security is there. Like, one farm could be, you know, have a load of silent alarms, loads of cameras, loads of security manning the farm overnight, and the next farm may not even lock their doors, and maybe, you know, 500 meters away from the farmhouse. You just don't know. So that's why you got to be safe when you do these things.
Yeah.
Because, you know, another thing is, you get all this passion and all this desire to want to expose, and you just think, that's it, I'm going to run on and expose these farms, and you could end up in a sticky situation yourself. With you could be something could happen to you, or, you know, there's loads of loopholes that they can use against you. So, you know, this is why having Chris there was great, because with his experience and his background of having a bit of knowledge on how to do these things, you sort of think, okay, look, we're not just going in like just with pure passion and going to run into a trap. Like, we've got some kind of guidance in, so it made you feel a bit more like, okay. But yeah, you just don't know. You don't know what kind of security you're going to be met with. You can only do so much recon. You can only do so much surveillance and so much looking, until you just have to decide, look, do we take the risk? Do we push forward? Do we go further into the farm? Do we stay on this part of the farm? How do we do this? And like, yeah, I think that when you get to these places, you have this like feeling inside you where, like, a lot of the build up to it and the anxiety to it, you think, if we just get into these ones, that's fine. And then you get there and you're like, no way, like, we got to go further, and we got to do more, we got to show this, and you end up pushing a little bit over your boundaries anyway, from our experience.
Yeah, and also, like you said as well, we were like, oh, if the farm or security come, like, we'll do this and this, and you almost felt a bit like your heart would race if they came. But after you saw what the animals were going through, you were like, bring the farmer, we want to see him. And yeah, it's weird how it turns.
Yeah, the animals, they have a way of giving you this strength, and I think it's when you're fighting for them. If we were doing this for ourselves, there's no way we'd do any of this. No way. Like, it's so far out of our comfort zone. It would be like a complete no. But the only reason why we're doing this is because we're doing it for them, and we have to do it for them. There's no question about it. So you're left with that, you know, you don't know how strong you are until strong's your only option. Like, you don't know how you can do these things until the only option is you have to do these things. It's not a case of like, do we do them? It's how do we do them?
Yeah,
we're gonna do them.
Can't just wait for other people to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, they won't, you know, unfortunately. Yeah, or you should just assume that they won't, right? So that you're always driven to that. I like how you describe, you know, there's only like so much recon you can do. There's only so much you can, so many questions that you can answer before you have to make a decision whether or not we're just going to go and take the risk or not. Because it's sort of like calculated risk. Like, you can answer as many questions beforehand, like, okay, I think there may be security over here. Okay, there might be the farmer may live over here, you know, here may be a good entrance point, here may be a second good entrance point. But once you're there, like you pointed out, you're going to encounter things that you didn't expect. And I'm sure you have found, you know, too, when you did this, that, like you said, you had to like sort of push past your boundaries a little bit. I'm sure you found each time you were capable of pushing past those boundaries. So the boundary was in your head more than anything else. Right.
That's so true. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
very well
so true.
put. Very well put.
That's really well put, actually. Yeah, a boundary isn't a boundary; it's in your head, and you can get through that. Because yeah, I'm really honest actually now with how I feel when I do activism, because I hope that encourages other people. Like public speaking, I thought never. That is a boundary for me. Yeah, going into these places is like, I've always been a bit like, yeah, I can do it, but I would like be really nervous as well. Same with like going to slaughterhouses and stuff. It was like, but the moment you stop thinking about you and you only think about the animals, yeah, those boundaries are left far behind. And then once you get over the first boundary, you suddenly think, oh, I've got so much strength in me that I didn't even know was there. And you feel really empowered to be like, nah, I'm not going to let anything stop me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of in your head, you just think, what do you need me to do? Like in your head, you're talking to animals. What do you need me to do? You need me to get this out to the world. You need me to come in there and to show what you're facing. You need me to do this. Then I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Any of my personal boundaries, they fade away because you do it in the strength for them. And just keeping your focus on them is the biggest strength. It's the biggest like bedrock you've got. And in them moments when you're like, oh my God, I'm feeling really anxious. You're like, oh, we're gonna do this. Like, should we go in this door? Like there was one door we were trying, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure. We looked over and we saw all the pigs in there, and you're like, oh, no, we have to. I have to get in. We have to get in and show these. Like, how are we getting in? And you get in and you do it because like the boundary it would have been easy to have gone, oh, the boundary is this is difficult to get past this stage. Let's leave it. But they needed us to get in there. So the boundary goes, let's get in and let's do what we need to do.
I like that you say that. Sorry. Go ahead.
I remember somebody who rescued the beagle puppies from MBR. As the guy was cutting the fence, they started to hear police sirens, and the person behind was like, oh, what do we do? And whilst they were discussing, the person said, the person cutting the fence just started cutting faster and was like, anything's possible.
I believe the guy was called Ben. I think.
Yeah, I think it was Ben. Yeah, and I remember like, yeah, anything is possible.
And he's like, what do we need to do? Just need to cut faster.
Yeah, cut faster and do it quicker.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they saved many beagles. So
yeah, having them people there is poignant.
Yeah, and I think one of the fears like people may have in like being caught or something obviously are the consequences, the legal consequences, but I think sometimes it's like feeling like a criminal, like feeling like I'm doing something wrong. And if you just look at the animal in front of you, like you've said, like what do they need us to do? Like you can feel very confident that you're in the right. So even if you were to get caught, right? Like even if you were to, get yelled at, have someone throw things at whatever happens, you're still in the right. So, they could even take you out on a perp walk or something in front of the TV cameras. You can hold your head high knowing that you did the right thing. And I think that, in moments like that, where you feel like a tremor of doubt or something, you can always like lean back on that. Like, what am I actually doing? I'm trying to show people that they're being lied to, like they're being lied to and scammed essentially. And all these animals are being harmed. I like how earlier, Mel, you described it as like if you were to try to design like a horror house, basically, like a Halloween scary house, like you would try to put all these cobwebs and all these torture devices and stuff. And then Steve, you touched on you talked about how like you felt like the words were inadequate. So you're giving us this sort of window in, but obviously there's these limitations of like, how does the film capture it? The scream, even the screams you described is something that could have been caught on audio, but probably wouldn't have the same resonation, like, so you have all these limitations. And then that kind of gets back to what Colin was saying. Like, I've seen Dominion, I've seen Earthlings, but there's something about that where it's like behind a screen. So I'm grateful that you give us this sort of window into what's going through your head, and also the struggle of like trying to convey that and describe that because it's probably impossible. So I guess I didn't really have a question. I was just sort of meandering, but
Yeah,
I
no,
guess, you know, go
yeah,
ahead.
you're right. It's really, really hard to get that across, and I don't think that you can. I think that unless you're actually there, you can't get that across.
Yeah.
Because it's too up there.
You can't comprehend it.
No.
You just can't. Your mind doesn't let you go there because it's too awful. That you can't ever see it unless you've seen it.
And just for people listening here, this is why we did the part 2 and the part 3 of the video with Colin, because I was very conscious that when we came out and Colin was like, that was bad, that farm was awful, and was listing all these things, in my head I was like, hang on, like, I want you to be really clear that this wasn't a welfare mission. We weren't taking you there to say this farm is bad, all this bad stuff, this is the most horrific, this is the reality of what they face, of course, but we're not in there saying let's have bigger cages, let's tidy the cobwebs up, let's have some more food. So that's why off the back of that video, we had a little meeting afterwards, and I said to Colin, you need to come to a slaughterhouse now, like, because we need to show you that this is a rights violation, this is, you know, this is an abolitionist approach, and you need to come here to see the circle of the exploitation. And to be fair to Colin, he's like, yeah, cool, all right, let's do it. And we took him to Pilgrim's Pride, the gas chamber there, and we managed to get around the back. We managed to get around the back of it and get over the fence and get in there, right up to the exterior of the chamber where you could hear the pigs screaming. And that was a really important point. And for anyone listening, watch the footage that Joey got from the 4K Pilgrims from Pignorant to see the realities of what these pigs are going to face in the end. And that's the injustice. You know, it's the rights violation that their bodies taken from them, they're put in gas chambers and stabbed to death. So Colin saying yes to that as well was great, because I felt then, nah, he's understanding, like, he understands what we're trying to get across here.
Yeah, same for the viewers as well.
Yeah,
people who are following that story, because we didn't know if Colin was vegan at that point. We just were doing that. So yeah, I think it's important. Like, we weren't only doing it for Colin to obviously see the animals and change, but we were doing it for the content so we could reach more people, so more people watching can see it and change as well. So you're kind of like thinking about a lot of things at the same time when you're doing your videos. But to be honest, Colin made it really easy because he reacted in the way you'd expect him to react. He was there listening to the screams, like, like, no, they shouldn't be doing it. Why are they doing this? Like, and then he was like, I know what I should be doing. I know what I should be doing. And yeah, the last scene was him just breaking down. And
well, I think it's because you put it to him really, really nicely at the end. The trucks were slowing down at the vigil. It was getting late in the day, and Mel said to Colin, listen, this is potentially the last truck that's going to be coming up the road today with the pigs. We could see it sort of coming down. So as it was coming down and turning in, Mel said, this is potentially the last truck. She said, Colin, look, just go over. We won't come over with the cameras. Just go over and say whatever you want to say to the pigs. Just give the pigs a message, you know, give them some compassion towards the end. And we all sat back, and you see the shot is in the actual video. And I punched in on the shot, and there's a really nice, clear shot of Colin. And as he comes past, I think he says something like, I'm sorry, babies, or something like to, and then he turns, and the truck just comes straight in, and you see the emotion hit him. And then he came and sat down, and Mel sat next to him. And what I did is I put the camera on, left it recording, and then Chris and I just stepped back from the camera and started having a chat. And I knew that Mel and Colin were in the shot. And you put it to Colin really well. I'll let you say.
Yeah, I just said to him, I was like, look, people can make this really complicated or whatever, but it's not. I was like, veganism is basically like, right, you've got this many animals looking at you, like 200 animals a year, for instance, looking at you. Are you going to open the gate to the slaughterhouse and continue not being vegan and let them in? Or are you going to stand in front of them?
We're freezing a little bit.
Them and not let anyone hurt them and be vegan. He's cried and climbed out. Oh, back.
Oh yeah, yeah. So take
Let
me
me know when
back
we're
because
back.
you're all right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I think we may be on a slight lag now, but you were we got cut off at the point where you were describing you can open, the gates to the slaughterhouse, let the trucks in, or you can stand in front of them, and that's where you got cut off.
Yeah, okay, I'll repeat it. So yeah, I said to Colin, I was like, you can either like open the gates of the slaughterhouse and let all the animals in and continue living as a non-vegan, or you can stand in front of the truck and protect the animals and not let them in and live as a vegan and speak up for them. I was like, it's as simple as that. Open the door or stand in front protecting them. And he just absolutely broke. And I gave him a hug. And then Chris came over and they had like a really nice brotherly hug. And I thought that's a really nice, almost like a nice ending in a way, because Colin did this because of his love for Chris. He did it because he had so much love for his brother. And at the end, it almost come full circle that he broke down and understood and gave Chris a hug again at the end. And I just was like, that's so powerful. Especially as two brothers, just the love
It
for his
was
brother
perfect.
changed.
It was
Mm.
perfect. Yeah, I mean, like you guys play that so nicely, like just like understanding the situation, sort of giving Colin space to like kind of feel things and say like, okay, we won't take the cameras over there, still like secretly getting some shots, which is great. um yeah, but I mean, I think the enduring image of it was like, Colin sitting on that bench, if I'm remembering correctly, and talking to you, Mel, and yeah, that was just a moment, like he to his credit, like not everybody would do this, like he was just really internalizing everything so well, but it was such
Mm.
a saga. I wonder if when he started this whole process, I should have asked him this, like if he imagined if he was going to go vegan at the end of it, because it really is like, it's almost like when he started, he's like, I know,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like he knows once I take this step, like there's no turning back. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a great series of videos. And so you took him to a slaughterhouse after the farm visit, and then you guys did like a podcast, right? And that was part 3, right? The podcast was
Yeah.
kind of describing like everything that happened and like talking it
Yeah.
through. Well,
Yeah. We took him out on the day we did the podcast. We took him out into, where were we?
Bristol, I think we
Bristol.
were, yeah.
We're in Bristol. We took him out. We said to Colin, we're going to meet you a couple of hours before we're going to meet at the location for the podcast. We're going to go into Bristol. We're going to do some outreach. And he was like, yeah, okay, cool, let's do it. And we took a sign that had some images of pigs in farrowing crates on it. And we took him out and we said, right, Colin, that you're going to go and talk to people about what you've experienced, what you've seen. Now you're vegan and stuff. And he did. And he went in and he had a couple of really good conversations. But it was the reason why we did that is because we wanted to like show him the importance of you as an individual identifying what the animals go through, understanding that it's not a welfare issue, it's a rights violation, understanding what happens at a slaughterhouse for the cost of something trivial like taste, and then the importance of you, someone who knows, standing up. And go back to like the Einstein, the quote from Einstein: "Those that have the privilege to know have the duty to act." And it hits home. You now know, Colin. Whatever happens now, you can't not know. You do know, and because you know, you now have the duty to act. And we're like, come on, let's go and do some activism. And he did it, and he had some great conversations.
Yeah, and
I remember empowered him.
I remember saying like, don't tell Chris or Calvin. We'll tell him in the podcast, because I know like if that was my sibling and then I saw him doing outreach, I'd be so proud.
Yeah.
So they found out when we told him in the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like, congrats to all of you. Like, I mean, the whole team, and Calvin was part of that too. Like I said, I got to get Calvin on here too. But
Yeah.
yeah, you guys handled that with such sensitivity towards Colin, and like you said, by extension to the viewer. And it's like, so maybe this is the little saga that people should be shown, if like a film like Dominion or Earthlings is not enough. like maybe taking them through this sort of path that Colin walked with you guys. Yeah, it was just really well done, and I mean, hats off to you and to Chris and Colin. Of course, I guess Colin, of course, deserves so much of the credit for just being open to it and taking those brave steps. Because I mean, honestly, and this sort of goes back to, you know, like nervousness and fear, but I mean, I'm sure y'all felt that, you know, probably in that moment where you described as you're riding up and it starts to get a little more quiet and serious. In situations that I've been in, those are the moments when I think I feel the most nervous. I'm like, oh God, here it comes. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're coming up on it. Was it the case for you guys, like that the fear sort of melted away when you were there? Because I've had a lot of people describe for me, and it's been the case for me too, that all the like nervousness is like in the anticipation.
Yeah, for me, the nerves go, and I get this like heightened sense of awareness, and I'm on the mission, and it just becomes like a mission in my head. It's almost like you know, you're SEAL Team 6 and you're going in to do this mission, and you're thinking that way, and you're analyzing everything, and you're watching out for everybody, and yeah, the nerves just go, and you just become focused on what you have come to do, and you get that done, whatever happens.
Yeah, I think when you're about to do something, you're thinking of like the what ifs and things, because you don't like know the inside, you don't know what you're going to be met with, so you're like kind of on guard. I think it's natural to feel like your heart racing and stuff, but yeah, once you're in, you get this wave of like, I need to be here, and I'm going to make sure I get this done, and you kind of forget your feelings and you pick them back up at the end. It's just like, right, we've got to do this for the animals. Get out, we can cry later and we can help each other later, but right now the animals need us to be strong.
Yeah, well, where I was going with that with Colin was that it's kind of incredible to me that he did that, because I have the drive, you guys have the drive from knowing that the animals need us. And for Colin, it was more like you said, it was more like about like honoring his brother, and that takes a lot. Like to like, you could always just like give your brother a nice birthday gift or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's hard enough to get your family members to watch Dominion, let alone jump into a farm.
Right.
You know, most people, if you said to your family, listen, I'm a passionate animal rights activist, please watch Dominion, they're not even going to sit in the sofa and put Dominion on, let alone say, yeah, cool, all right, pick me up at 2 and we'll go and jump into this farm and you can explain it all to me whilst we're there.
Right.
You know, so yeah,
I know it is.
well.
I've had that experience too. I've been able to get some of my family to watch Earthlings, but it took a lot. It took like damn near threatening to leave the family, you know, for me to get them to sit down and do it. Yeah. So speaking of the Slaughterhouses, and like I've known from your channel like that you guys have started to do pretty frequent streams from Slaughterhouses, live streams. Now, since y'all are in the UK and this happens in the morning, it's usually, luckily I'm a night owl, so I've been able to see one of them. And you guys, you know, you go in there, you're showing people, the comment section is just filled with all these trolls, these anti-vegans, these people mocking you or just mocking the plight of the pigs even more offensively, you know, like that's what's like really more annoying. But how are y'all dealing with that, especially like having now been all these places, investigated them, seen the suffering up close? It must be very frustrating when you're showing people and you're trying to show them and they're just making a mockery of it.
Yeah, I think you have days where it's harder than others. Being outside of a slaughterhouse is heartbreaking as it is, let alone seeing the comment section sometimes. Like, we don't care if people are horrible towards us, but when they mock the animals, that's hard to deal with. But having said that, we know we're hitting the right audience when we see those comments coming in. And we've had a live where there was loads of trolls, there was loads of horrible comments, and what we did is a truck came and we put the camera up. The truck was really high, we couldn't see inside of the truck. When we pulled the phone down and we were reading the comment section, these trolls suddenly switched and they were apologizing. I'm so sorry. I didn't understand. I didn't realize. And me and Steve were like, who did they see in that truck? So I went on like one of our phones and looked back on the live, and I saw that they were baby male calves. So these trolls had seen real babies going in, and suddenly everything switched. So we understand the importance of doing these lives outside slaughterhouses. You can get thousands of non-vegans to see these animals live going in right now, showing them and educating them. And I mean, like on the last live, we had a 12-year-old boy come onto the live, was asking a load of questions, and by the end of it, he went vegan and was speaking up for animals, and now comments on our comment sections. And
Wow.
It's a real big change for vegan. The biggest change we've seen instantly to making non-vegans vegans, because the animals are the best activists. They're the ones going through it. They look at the eyes of the animals, and you can't unsee that.
Yeah, it definitely does get frustrating and upsetting, because like what you're saying, like they're mocking these animals right in front of us. And I know that they're about to be stabbed to death, and these innocent eyes are looking back at me. And I know that I'm the person trying to defend you and be your guardian and save you. And you end up in this vortex of like everyone's just mocking, and you do take that all on. You have to almost just put on this protective barrier and just think, you know what, these comments are going to fall away. Doesn't always work. And sometimes I get mega triggered sometimes. I have to hold these emotions in really deep, because I want to just like flip out, you know, and get really cross. But then you just got to remember like what you're there for and what you're doing. And like we were talking earlier with the power of social media, when you create, like let's say for example the video where we took Colin in, you've got to film, you've got to create, you've got to edit, you've got to then create a title and a thumbnail, then upload. And that title and that thumbnail and everything to do with that video has got to draw a non-vegan in to want to go, oh yeah, okay, click it and then watch. So there's lots of decisions to be made for that non-vegan to see that footage. But when they're flicking through live streams, it just pumps out random lives to them. So they haven't had to think that title's intriguing, that thumbnail's intriguing. Yeah, okay, I'm going to watch that footage. So they're immediately like, you're getting in front of non-vegans more. So then you kind of think, I know I'm going to get more triggered trolls. Then the second element that we feel is working well is if you're in the street talking to someone with no footage, it's like this end of the spectrum. And then sometimes when you show people dominion and animals having their heads cut off and gassed and put in macerators, it goes to this end of the spectrum, and then they put their walls up and their barriers up. But there's something really, really vulnerable that we're noticing where the animals, it's not graphic, there's no blood and guts, there's no one actually killing them at that point where we're stood. But this is a victim waiting right here, right now, to be killed. And this is the middle ground. The words don't do it justice. The violence and the actual slaughter process may put your guard up. But right here, right now, there is a vulnerable, innocent, childlike being in a cage in this trailer, locked up, looking out at you right now live, and they're about to be killed. And there's something really vulnerable and subtle about this that just catches emotion.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've done maybe 9 now and got nearly 1.5 million views, like to get 1.5 million non-vegans to a slaughter, it's something like 1.5 million.
I'll have to. I think it's 100,000. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, to get them to go to a slaughterhouse, you know, is you'd never get that many numbers to a slaughterhouse.
The other thing to add on to that as well, they're not only seeing these animals with their own eyes going in, they can hear them crying and on the inside as well. So they've just seen this individual, and now they can hear them screaming for their life on the inside. And we're just here to try and educate. There's a lot of different.
So it's 150,000.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah. But it will be 150. We'll get there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that happen at a slaughterhouse. So not only are you getting non-vegans and vegans to go somewhere that they don't want to go, you're also putting pressure on the slaughterhouse, on the workers going there, on the vets going there, on the farmers going there. You're also there with cameras. So they're going to feel uncomfortable that you could capture anything illegal at any point, because illegal things happen in these places all the time. The other thing is you're capturing people linked with the slaughterhouse, businesses linked with the slaughterhouse who don't want to be seen on camera, and we've seen that. And the other thing as well is people who come onto the lives and are saying, oh, I only buy from local free range. They're seeing these big trucks arrive, and then 2 seconds later, they're seeing this tiny truck with one cow on arrive at the same place. So everything they're saying about the farms, it's irrelevant at that point, and they can visually see that too. So yeah, you're basically, it makes it simple to the viewer at that point. These cows are in here for this. If you're not vegan, you're paying for this, but it's not your fault, you don't know. But after this live stream, you are accountable then. So yeah, there's kind of a lot of different things happening at the same time.
You wouldn't believe how much pressure. It's just the two of us. Like the two of us rock up, we take our camera and we put it on a tripod, and the two of us standing there. An average vigil as well runs for maybe like 2 to 3 hours. We take enough battery to be there for 6-7 hours if we need to be, and we're cool to be here for. I'll stand here for 10 hours if we need to. Like that amount of pressure, just the two of us, is putting so much pressure on the slaughterhouses. We've noticed significant change just in the few months we've been doing them. The police were called regularly.
Yeah.
The police don't get called anymore because the police would turn up. The police would get out and go, yeah, what's the problem? They're exercising their right to protest. This is their right to assembly. We'd know exactly how to operate within the bounds of the law. We'd talk to the police, and the last thing the police want is a live stream camera to be flipped round and for a member of the public to say, hey, why aren't you vegan? Because then all of a sudden the policeman's like, oh God, like this is something really bad.
They run away at that.
So now the police don't turn up. Now the slaughterhouse has to bring on extra security. So when we turn up, more security is called. So it's a bigger cost to them. They've now got body cameras on. So every time they have their body cameras on, fantastic, I'm going to exercise my GDPR rights to that footage, and I'd like your footage. So I'd like the email for me to obtain that footage.
It's another camera angle.
So we've got more cameramen now at slaughterhouses. So it's like, great, I'll get 2 angles. So it's putting on so much pressure and not allowing these places to operate comfortably in the backs of the country, like, oh, we rock up to work, no one's going to challenge us. And when you go there every week or 2 times a week or 3 days in a row, and they're like, these activists are back, the cameras are out again, they're not going away. A normal vigil finishes in 3 hours. They've been here for 5 hours and they're still live streaming. The manager's down. The manager can't do his normal job because the manager's got to come to the front gate, and you can walk around the back of some of these slaughterhouses, and then they start to panic where the activists are going, and it's just a brilliant thing to do.
Yeah,
to put pressure on the industry in that direction.
You start to get to know people as well. Like, we start hearing their names. They accidentally call other people by their names, and it's like, okay, so you're this person then, and you're the manager, and you do this, and
they don't like it, do they?
Yeah, and it's like, well, we know certain areas in the slaughterhouses where you can see through the fence or the foliage and stick the camera in, and there's no hiding. So we think this is we've seen it be very effective so far, because that's all we care about, is how effective it is for the animals. And there's change every single time.
Yeah.
Wow. So it seems like you have identified this as like maybe one of the most effective things. And it sounds like you advocate for others to do this too, wherever you are in the world. Just go get your camera, go to a slaughterhouse and film. And it seems like you're cracking the algorithm nut too, which is like really hard. Like you described, all the thumbnails, all the things you got to do when you've recorded a video and put it up. Like I'll be trying to do that with our interview. Like, how can I like get this to reach more people? And I really have not had much success like getting out to non-vegans. So are you saying like with like live streams and stuff, you don't bother like doing a thumbnail and stuff, you just like kind of go and you just start, you give it a title, obviously.
Get a title on there, hit go live, and just go. And because people are just flicking through lives, all of a sudden they come to your live. And it's kind of unique to be like, what are these people doing? They're at a slaughterhouse. What the hell? Like, it's different. And then the triggered trolls don't realize all the people who are mocking the animals, they're in there just flooding the comment section. So then the algorithm's like, oh, this is a brilliant live stream. Everyone likes this. There's lots of engagement, throws it out even further. we've been sat in some lives, we've got over 200 people in the room watching animals being brought to the gate. So we did one live and we came off and we had something like 40,000 people just in one live stream that we've done. So when you think of what we're trying to do, the first thing we're trying to do is reach non-vegans. And then the second thing is this is a numbers game. Out of 40,000 people, if 2% of empathetic and compassionate people saw what we've done today, that's, you know, a significant amount of vegans being created that day, you know. So
yeah, and you touched on something as well. We definitely want to advocate for other people to do this. So I've created a support live stream group on Instagram. So basically we worked out, if you create a YouTube channel, if you get 50 subscribers, you can go live within 24 hours. You may have like limited reach to start with, but you're still going live, and that video gets uploaded to YouTube after, so you can make shorts from it and things like that. But if, like, we've got over 100 people in this group now, so if someone new creates a YouTube channel, we stick their channel in, 100 people go to their channel and subscribe, they can go live in 24 hours and go outside of a slaughterhouse like straight away. And this is something that everybody can do. You don't have to even show your face. You don't even have to write your name anywhere. You can just be there, explaining with your voice and just showing the animals. That's all you got to do. Just show them, make sure people know what's happening. You can do polls on there as well. You can invite guests on to talk. But I know we just have this vision of, what if Slaughterhouses had someone outside every single slaughterhouse every single day? Because they would feel immense pressure. No farmer would ever be like comfortable taking the animals in, because they'll have people pricking their conscience the whole time. The security working there may not even know what's happening on the inside because they've just been hired that day as extra security. So you can be telling them. Yeah, I just think if we can get 40,000 in one, with just one live stream, what if we had 100 people doing it at the same time? Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, we had talked, I am not sharing something like behind the scenes, but you and I, the three of us and Wayne, and we had talked about like doing like this sort of like, you know, day of action, right? We were thinking about that. Like, I'm thinking like, you know, maybe there could be this like day of live stream where everybody goes to a slaughterhouse. Wouldn't that be amazing? And, you know,
well, you should have watched this space.
That's something we're actually working. We're working that out right now. We're working towards. Wow. We've got a plan, and the plan is that we are going to try and escalate this and build pressure up for this. And we're going to try and create an international live stream day where at the same day, a little bit like NARD. Yeah, think of NARD, but rather than a march and speeches, everyone's at a slaughterhouse all over the world, international, everyone that day, and we all live stream.
And then scale it from there. What if we did this once a month? What if we did this once a week? Like, if we, because this could change so many people on all forms of activism, will change so many people that over the time we'll have more and more people to do this. Something actually that sparks this. We actually were having a bit of a down day, and I remember laying in bed and we were like, what can we do for the animals that will just be a tidal wave of change? They need more than just what we're doing right now. And it was actually a day where we were like, oh, like not feeling like good enough and things, like, oh, the animals really need more and they need more. And it was Wayne said something in a video that's stuck in my head. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And he said, we've got enough vegans in this world to win tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, we do. And he was like, if they all fought for the animals. And I was like, okay, is it easier then to inspire activists to become, inspire vegans to become active for the animals, which will then in turn create more vegans in the world, more people speaking? And yeah, we were like, bro, what if we can live stream outside slaughterhouses and really show the world what's happening? And yeah, scale it up from there, because we need masses of change. But yeah, that's one thing that really stuck in my head, because we have each other and we can encourage each other. A lot of vegans are on their own, very feeling very timid. Maybe their family have kind of ditched them, and they're being bullied. And sometimes people just need that bit of encouragement to be like, you can do this too. Hence why I'm being really honest now with how I feel about doing outreach and how nervous I feel and how it's not a nice thing to do, but we got to do it, and you can do it. One thing we said in the our NAR speech was like, out of 9 billion people on this planet, you saw and you made that change. The animals have chosen you to fight for them.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it's a brilliant idea, honestly. I mean, like you said, if you can reach 40,000 in a live stream, and then now some people are going to do their live stream and they may not have as much of a following, so they may get like 200 or something. And then some people might have like a big one, or they might just like hit that algorithm sweet spot where they get like 1 million views on something. It can happen. You also touched on like another benefit of some of these videos. Like for instance, like when I'm doing my live reaction videos, I might have like 10 people in my stream. So I have a very small channel, right? But I have like on one occasion, I remember I reacted to Victorious Vegan, who had this interaction with the police, and from my live stream took that and just cut it down to like a 10-minute video, put that out, and that's one of my most viewed videos right there. It's just like easy, quick, easy, took it from my live stream. And so if you're out there at a slaughterhouse and you have a particularly poignant moment, you can take that and you've got like a 3 to 5 minute video or something, and it's just right in that time frame that people like. So yeah, there's a lot that you can do, and I'm really glad and grateful that people are thinking creatively about, you know, what impact we can make and like what's the most impact we can make. Yeah, that's brilliant. So definitely, like, please hit me up on whatever when you guys do this, when you have this planned out for a day of action, because I can also spread that word out to other people and try to get them to do it as well, and do it myself too. That'd be fun. Not fun. Sorry, I didn't mean it that way, but like seeing the impact would be. Yeah. And so like, let's go back to like the beginning. Also, you guys started with like fitness content, right? Like it started as like, is that right? It was like a fitness channel, or like it used to be called like Vegan Muscle, right?
That's right. Yeah. So what happened was, when we went vegan, we became active. We did our street outreach and stuff. And before we got a vegan tattoo on the side of our head, I wanted to have vegan on me everywhere I went, because, you know, this was an easy form of activism, and it's the most proudest thing that we've ever done. So there wasn't any vegan gym wear, so like, I couldn't have vegan on me and have a vest that said vegan or whatever it was. So we're like, let's come up with and make some gym apparel, gym brand. So it's functional, fit, and works like gym wear works, but we got taglines like the strong protect the weak, or compassion is strength, and vegan muscle all over it. So we made this gym brand, Vegan Muscle. And then off the back of that, when we started recording our outreach channel, we called it Vegan Muscle Outreach, because we just sort of was like, okay, we got the Vegan Muscle one, which is the social media for the marketing of the product. So we'll just call this Vegan Muscle Outreach, and this will be the animal advocacy side that we do here. So we run it like that. It was never like gym or fitness content. It was like the Vegan Muscle Outreach for the animals, and then the Vegan Muscle stuff was like the gym.
We were just trying to find our feet, weren't we? We didn't really know what we were doing. And
yeah, we were kind of just all over the place. We weren't, you know, it's a great example. Like, don't wait to be perfect before you start. Just get going. Like, you know, make it up as you go along, and you'll find what works, and you'll find what feels right, and you'll find what resonates with you.
We're just trying to figure it out.
Which is what happened with us, because as we went through, we were like, look, Vegan Muscle Outreach, it disconnects us. You know, it's not us. It looks, people was like messaging saying, oh, the Vegan Muscle Outreach team.
Or company or something.
Yeah, and it just disconnected us, and it just wasn't sitting comfortably.
I never felt comfortable with that as our outreach channel. But yeah, we just didn't kind of know.
Yeah.
Because I was doing a lot of I was doing some proper cringy videos on TikTok.
They were really bad.
I just had so much passion, but I didn't know where to put it. And I just remember being like, okay, whatever's trending, I'm just going to do that and add an animal rights message in. And I absolutely embarrassed myself on TikTok.
But you learn.
You learn.
Yeah, I love that you said that, Steve. Like, don't wait till you're perfect to get started. I advocate that too as well. I go, there
Mhm.
was before I went vegan, I was like busking, playing piano on the streets. And had I waited, until I felt like I was good enough, I would never been out there. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think that applies to activism as well and outreach and
Mhm.
like, I the benefit, not the benefit, but like uh, the thing that drives us is the urgency. So like we
yeah,
don't have
Mhm.
time. We just don't have
Yeah.
mhm,
time. The animals don't have time to wait for us to get it exactly right. And honestly, people like to see um people evolve. So I mean,
Mhm.
honestly, like it's almost better. Like I like how like my first video like had like a crappy camera. Now I've got a slightly better one. Eventually I'll get like a background that's suitable, like that people like to see the progression of the channel and stuff too.
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
We did a video saying why the name change and what we've been doing, and people loved it. And then people were like, "Thanks for telling us why. I didn't know why the name had changed. This makes so much sense." We got really positive feedback from doing it and being open about it and being
mm,
like, "Look, we're just trying. This suits better." And that went well.
yeah,
And the same, we started filming with our phones. Like,
Hmm.
we started filming with our phones and we went back to watch some of our first videos. I don't know how anyone watched it
yeah.
because it was blurry. Like
Wind like,
the wind, it was
Yeah.
basically 6 minutes of wind and like two people
and people being
blurry in
like
the
really
distance.
nice.
You couldn't really see like what was going on. You could just see, oh, that person on the horizon is having an outreach conversation.
We think it's
But like,
going well.
But
and we started right there.
it's almost good because like for one, like people see the progression, they see you're getting better, but also like in those early days, like I'm sure you had like a few people that were like supporting you guys and you like no, those are like the OG supporter, like they are with you, like they see like what you could potentially become. um
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so
And this,
yeah.
sorry, yeah. This is why, like, it's so important for anybody watching anybody's activism video. Do not give them criticism, not in a way that's awful. Like,
Right.
maybe you can say,
Feedback.
oh, yeah, yeah. Like, maybe you say, oh, this factor was wrong. Like, maybe think about that next time. Instead of just hammering someone for being like, they're a terrible activist, like, they shouldn't be doing this, encourage them. Because when people put themselves out there to do that, you don't know what they had to get through to do
Right.
that. They're just trying to do their best for the animals. And like you said, where you start, you don't end up. You're evolving through this entire process. So just give encouragement. Never publicly slay someone for what they've said or done in activism. You can always send them a private message and be kind, because
Mhm.
we're all on this team together. We're all in this war together. You want to
Yeah,
pick people up, not push them down to the ground. I mean, if
exactly.
someone's doing activism, they're doing it because they care and they want change for the animals. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're like,
And we don't want to give people a reason to stop doing activism. Like if they're getting
mm,
beat down for like just trying, like, and we should, yeah. Anytime someone is trying something, we should lift them up and encourage, especially if they're doing something selfless, like they're doing it for the animals. They're not getting anything for this. Like they might, I don't know, might get a little bit of attention on social media or something, but like most people aren't doing it for that reason. So I know I hate it when I see people who are like trying their best and people are just slamming them like without making it like a constructive feedback that's like, oh,
yeah,
that's awesome, like you could have said it maybe this way, or I would have said it
mm,
this way, but that's awesome that you're out there like doing it, like that's brave. Because like a lot of people doing the criticism, let's face it, they're sitting on their sofa watching YouTube while this
Yep.
person's out there doing something. Like it could
yeah,
Mhm.
be any, yeah, it could be the fact that they're doing anything, right? That, like you said, if we had all the vegans doing something, we'd already be
Yeah.
there. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what we love. Like when we see like the supportive comments and the same names, like you said, from day one, still turn up in the live streams, the Slaughterhouses, and it's like there's a friend there supporting you, and it
The
really,
support has been so overwhelming.
yeah,
We so what happened with us is we started. You probably people already know. We started with our phone, and then we were like, "Oh, this is not working. Like the videos, no one can watch or listen to them." So we took our credit card. We went to the camera shop. We took our credit card, and we were like, "We need something that's better." So we started off with this tiny little Sony, and we got the microphones and put it all on a credit card. We're like, we just have to do it. We got to go and upgrade this. And we were so bad. The first day we went out to Brighton, we filmed the whole day. And I plugged the microphone into the headphones and the headphones into the microphone. We got 8 hours of no content. We were terrible at it. But that camera eventually sort of died, and it kept coming up with a warning triangle. We'd go up, we'd set our TVs up, we'd start filming, and the warning triangle would come up and it just shut down. We put a video out, and it was really uncomfortable to do the video, but we did a video asking for help. Because we'd maxed our credit card, we were still paying the camera off. The camera had broke. We had no way of filming for the animals. So we did this video on a Wednesday evening. We posted this video saying, this is our situation and our camera equipment's broke. If anyone can help, please help. Friday evening, so within 48 hours, we had to put out another video saying, please stop with the donations, stop with the support. We've got enough to go and do it. Within 48 hours, we were able to go and get the equipment we needed to do the job we need to do. And we were like, I cannot believe this support. Like, people really are there. People really do back you. And it was overwhelmingly kind. We'd never met half these people. No. We don't know who half these people were. And they were just like, you're doing a great job. Here's my £5. Here's my £10. Some people even more. But we were able to go and get all the equipment that we needed, and it was just overwhelming support.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Support is mad.
Yeah, and I mean, it should feel good, obviously, because it shows that people have seen what you're doing and they want to further it. They know that you're out there speaking up for them. And some people, like, let's face it, some people are in a life situation where they can't get out and do the activism. So maybe that's like the best that they can do, is like to give some money, or even just to give a like to a YouTube video. Like, that's still something. So,
this is what you work on the team.
Yeah, exactly. So I always am encouraging people to do activism and doing that sort of thing, and obviously to be vegan. But like, I don't want people to feel like it's inaccessible either. Like, if all you do feel like you can give, like on a particular time or day, is like a view, like go and subscribe to Mel and Steve. Like, it helps a lot. And especially like you said, like say you're doing like one of your live streams, and even just the little moral boost is nice to see, like, oh, there's actually some friends in here that support us, even when all the troll comments are out there. Sometimes you can react to the trolls or something. You could go down a whole rabbit hole with that. Your buddy Chris is good at that, though. He'll engage. He'll get into
it. Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah, the live stream that I was able to be there for, I saw that you guys had Colin call in. Colin called in. Yeah. So that was cool. So yeah, you can do all these sort of things, like, and like if you're dragging one day, like maybe if you're like, I do want to go out and film at a slaughterhouse, like, there's no trucks. You could do things like that, like call up a buddy and be like, hey, like, remember the last time we were here at the slaughterhouse? Tell them about that time. Like, tell the viewers about that. There's just all kinds of ways that we can, kind of drive ourselves forward and support each other. Well, yeah. Well, guys, like, I've almost taken you 2 hours. Like, I don't want to make this too long. I always do ask people, like, what are some of the things that they read? What are some of the things they watch? And it could be like things that inspire you, or they could be animal rights related, or even outside of that. Like, what do you like draw, joy from even?
I get joy from seeing people change and go vegan. I think that's the one thing that gives me so much hope. Also, like, we've got our rescue chickens, so we like to chill out with our rescue chickens. We'll sometimes do a live stream with them, cuddle our dogs. But I never feel okay unless we have activism going on. Like, otherwise I get cross. If we're not doing activism, I'm like, we gotta go and do something. And so activism is I can't explain it. It's just like when you know your purpose, you're just like, got to
Yeah.
do it, and got to keep seeing the change more and more and more and more. It's never going to be enough.
The main things that we sort of watch, so if we're sitting down for the evening to chill and watch, like we don't watch TV anymore. It's like, right, what YouTube are we going to watch? What debates are we going to watch? Are we going to watch, has Joey got a new video? Has Ed got a new video? Like, what videos are out? Let's watch these
or
videos.
Editing tutorials and things we can improve.
Yeah, I was going to say, or we're looking at ways that we can hit that algorithm more. You know, what's the most effective thumbnail? What's the best way to put a title together? What colors are best to use? And it's kind of like our downtime, because like you're watching like what's the best thumbnail technique, or how to do this in Photoshop, or how to do this in Final Cut. So it's kind of a downtime thing, but you're gaining a little bit more knowledge. And then, like you said, if we ever get the opportunity to go to a sanctuary for the day, you know, go and spend some time around rescued animals, that's kind of massively healing. I always find, like, if you can go and just sit down in a field with the cows or with the pigs or whoever it may be, and you just sit there with them for a minute, and you just can sort of like heal up a little bit, you know, and take from that, and then just keep going forwards. But yeah, like
downtimes, but like planning for the next thing.
Yeah.
Even when we have the animals.
Yeah.
Even when we're with the animals at the sanctuary, we're like, we'll just do a video.
But it's not a conscious thing.
No.
Like, I have to say, activism for us isn't conscious. It's not like
work.
It's not a decision. It's not like, oh, we need to go and do this. We must do this. It's just like breathing. It's just like the way that my lungs breathe, the way that my heart beats is the way that we do activism. So we're never deciding to do activism. It's just what happens, because it's like, I need to breathe. I need to be active. It's like, it's non-questionable.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is like an awkward question for y'all, since you're like loath to ask for support, but I'm curious, like, have you been able to reach the point where you can do this full time and you're supported doing that? And I'll just ask it for you then. If you're awkward, like, how can people support you if they want to make sure that you can do this full time?
So we haven't made it there yet. We really want to. We're doing everything we can to get there. If anyone wants to support, like you said earlier, anything from a like and a comment and a subscribe, all the way up to a Patreon member, you know, and everything in between is a support, and is helping us to be able to do more for the animals. Wherever that fits, wherever you can support, is always greatly received, and everything goes towards fighting for the animals. And we're hoping this year could be our year where we're able to make the jump and say, right, we're now full time. And when that happens, oh man, these industries better watch out, because we're coming like, I cannot put into words the fury that we will be attacking the industries with. Like, it feels like at the moment we're in a boxing ring, and I have my hands tied behind my back. And the minute the gloves come out, man, I just can't wait to be free enough to fight these industries.
Yeah, we just want
everything we have.
Do more and more, and be able to do even more intense, and bigger things. Oh, and we also sell our vegan vision sunglasses now, so you can become an activist as well, and they support too. Cool.
Nice. So they can find all that stuff like on your page, I guess. And I really hope that we can like untie Steve so he can go. Because I mean, like, I'm really blown away by the energy and passion. I mean, I have some of it, but I feel like I need some from you too. So I just like, I really hope that people will support. I'm often thinking, when it comes to like donations and stuff, I'm like, what are some of the like great places that we could like put our money and stuff? I would say, like, putting it into y'all's activism, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. And I'm just saying that from myself personally. Y'all didn't like, put me up to saying that. I just think, when people are showing like the real energy and the passion, I feel like that's where it's at. So any of my viewers out there, if you guys like have a few bucks to spare, I feel like I feel like, look guys, I was playing Tomb Raider the other day on my stream, and I had 3 people donate to my channel. While that's beautiful, and I love that, that's great. maybe donate that to Mel and Steve for being out there in front of the slaughterhouse. I mean, like that would just be incredible for you guys to be doing it full time. So I guess like one last question I always ask like the people I interview from the UK is like, why in the hell is the UK kicking our ass so much when it comes to amazing activists? Like so many activists I am inspired by are over there in the UK, like you guys. What is it about the UK that like just like fosters like real go-getters when it comes to activism? I don't know if you can answer it.
Maybe because I know a lot of other places, the legal system puts a lot more barriers in place. The UK, like for example, in Australia, you can't even put like a table up to do outreach in Australia without getting moved on or fined. You know, over here you can just walk onto farms and it's just a civil trespass. So the legal system at the moment is probably more flexible in the UK. So we have the ability to push boundaries a little further without any real significant implications. So maybe it's just a bit easier in the UK in terms of the legal system to push hard. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I don't want to discourage anybody anywhere. Like, go for it. The animals need you to do it. Like,
I also sorry, did you finish?
No, you go. I'm used to it now.
One thing as well, the UK is a lot smaller than a lot of other countries too, so we see each other a lot more. Like I know in Australia, like Tash and Jack, like there's not many others around us, whereas we know we could drive like wherever in the UK and there'll be few people only like a few hours away. And I think when you meet and you do these big protests and you do things, you encourage each other, and you inspire one another to be like, you can do it too, and so can you, and this is epic that you've done that. Oh, we need to go and investigate this farm. Like, are you up for doing that? Yeah, I'm actually learning how to do that. So I think there's a lot of like groups of people around, and when you do activism, you meet a lot of vegans who aren't active yet who join. I know Southampton have got an epic thing going on. They've created this like hub where they have a meeting every month and they organize what they're going to do all together and plan their itinerary for the month. Then they do it, and they've had so much success from
Very
what they've done.
Systematic.
Yeah,
activism.
almost like a business plan. And they've got a plan of how to get more people in, how to do this protest, who's going to go there, and that's been working really well. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't know really.
Yeah, it's sort of unexplainable, but I think you guys have done a good job of explaining it. Like, I do think there's some sort of community, and you guys are kind of feeding off of each other and kind of like building it out. Maybe the size of the country has something to do with that, like you said, or like its history or something. I don't know, but you guys are inspiring us. Like, you inspire us here in the States. And I'm sure all over the world. So my heart goes out to you so much. Like, yeah, just keep doing it. I'm so grateful to you guys. And
likewise.
Yeah. So well, I think those were my questions, y'all. Is there anything that we didn't cover? I know it's a weird way to end an interview. Is there anything that we didn't cover that y'all think we should?
I don't know. We can talk for hours, can't we?
I think a good note to finalize on and to maybe inspire vegans listening is something that we touched on with our NARD talk, and it's the concept of time. And we're talking about being active in activism and what people do with activism. And part of our NARD talk is we talked about the human context of time and how we are experts at putting things off, slowing time down and controlling time. But I really want to emphasize that for the animals locked in these systems that exploit them, their time frame is so short that we need to be active in their time frame and not ours. So anyone listening who has been putting activism off because you're nervous, anyone listening who hasn't put a camera up to film yet because you're not sure if you're going to be accepted online, anyone listening who's put a block in way to stop them and control the human concept of time, remove it, focus on the animals' concept of time and the short space of time they have, and fight for them with that intensity, because they need it. They need it, and they always should be our focus for everything. So yeah, maybe that's a thing I'd like to say.
Yeah, I want to add to that as well. Never feel like small. Like, you have so much power inside of you. So even though your family and your friends may be doing things that are making you not feel very loved or not feel supported, just remember that you're doing the right thing for the animals, and in the animals' eyes, you're their hero. And just keep doing it. Like, get your phone out and just go for it. You have so much power in you.
Yeah, we saw this as well the other day. The Megan at the National Animal Rights Day, we did this. We met Megan, and this really inspired us. And I thought this is exactly what the animals need. We done the National Animal Rights Day. We done our talk, and we were there packing our camera away. And this lady Megan came over and said, "I just want to say that I've watched your videos and I follow you online, and I love what you're doing. I'm the only vegan in my family. I'm the only vegan in my social network. I'm the only vegan at work. I get bullied for being vegan, and I'm finding it really hard, and it's really upsetting. Today is my first activism I've done for the animals because I felt compelled to do something." And her mum had come there to support her. And her mum actually, throughout that day, got the message and spoke to us. And her mum went vegan that evening. But she stood out because she was someone who didn't think she was brave, and she didn't think she was significant enough. And then you think, hang on a minute, you stood up amongst everybody in that room, and you've solely stood against the grain and said, I'm going vegan because I'm against what happens to animals. And the power and the strength that she had as an individual was really inspiring. And that gives you hope. When someone can do that, you think, good for you. We spoke about her a lot, didn't we, afterwards?
Yeah.
And she's now going to vigils. She's signed up to the local vigil group. She's going to vigils. She's becoming more active.
This is exactly what we say. The animals give you your strength to fight for them. That's why we will say, like, don't look away from what the animals go through. Make sure you keep looking and keep feeling that fire in your heart. And together we're going to absolutely destroy these industries.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And that's so beautifully said. And this story about Megan too, it just goes to show too that her mother was impacted by her. And so she wasn't as small or insignificant as she thought. And I think that what really inspires people is when they see that someone has such a drive that maybe I didn't take them seriously before, but now we're going to NARD. Now we're doing this because they have like a fire burning inside them, and that's going to spread, fire spreads. So that that's a great story, and everybody who feels that way should pay attention to that story, because like Mel said, you are not small, you are not insignificant, you have a lot of power around you. And even if it's just one animal, you're everything to that animal. You are like you said, you're their hero, you're everything. And you can give like one animal a chance at a better life. That's that's a net plus for the world. You've already done good. So all right, Mel and Steve, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And you're always welcome back on my channel. It's not gonna, I always say, people, it's not gonna do a whole lot for you. It's quite small, but maybe it'll grow. I'm not small. Mel just told me I'm not small, I'm significant.
Two rights.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us on as well.
Yeah, it's been such a pleasure to be on.
Animals too.
Yeah, thank you for all you do for the animals. Thank you.
Thank you.